We're just getting done with the 4th of July weekend, which was lots of fun. Friday through Sunday we stayed with the Donoghs and did a river type of an unplanned mini staycation for us. It was really nice to see friends and family, but we didn't really prepare for the weekend, which made going zero waste very tough because in our valley it's very hard to find bulk or unpackaged food that you can purchase from a grocery store, and that goes for prepared foods or even unprepared product type foods. It's just difficult. Even the fruits and vegetables are packaged. So anyway, unable to travel 30 minutes and made things tough. Eating out was really nice. We could go in and bring our Tupperware and ask them to put it into our container. And then also shopping fruits and veggies, you could find like avocados, still had a sticker on them, but still zero waste. And then of course we would bring our growler in and get it filled with beer. So that's what I wanted to talk about, is the jars and the glassware that we use to make zero waste easier on ourselves. So beer is a really easy one. We use growlers to fill up for beer. If you take them to a brewery, they'll easily fill them up, and that way it's much more affordable too if you take it to the actual microbrewery. But if you just go to a bar, ask them if they fill growlers, and most of them will do, ask them that they fill it up to the top so that the air won't seep through, and that way you'll have higher quality beer. I still use an Nalgene water bottle. I have gotten Kelly Clean Canteen, which is the stainless steel bottle, and this is really nice for Kelly, and I hope to get more Clean Canteens. So I still use an Nalgene bottle, and I always have that with me full of water so I can use it for dirty hands. I'll have a linen napkin or something like that, but also it's great for me for drinking water. I also still use just a plastic, and all of these are BPA free, but even BPA free plastic, what I've read, is really not that safe to use, but still I'm not going to go ahead and get rid of everything and purchase all new stainless steel. So one of the health food stores that I go to carries a great selection of herbs and spices, and for that you can bring in a tiny jar. They will usually sell them too. If you purchase a spice, like I think this one actually came from initially vanilla beans, that I paid like $12 for, this tiny little thing, and then I was able to remove the label using I think it was baking soda and olive oil, and you just leave it on overnight, and I'll include the link to that too below in this video. And that way you could just upcycle the jar that I came in initially. So mason jars right now are very trendy too, where you could use those in many different ways, and I actually am now the proud owner of a number of mason jars that we'll usually use around the house to just drink water, or I'll use them to give to friends and family treats and baked goods, things like the almond milk that we make. And so for this one I use tiny little things, like things that I purchase in bulk bags that I'm not going to use a whole lot of, but I'll use every once in a while. This is just nice too for bringing things back and forth between friends and family. If you're gifting anything or anything you would normally put in a plastic bag, we now put in mason jars. So these jars I got at Costco, and they're not my favorite because again they have a nice plastic cap up on the top. I mean, these people have been using since the 50s, and you can find these in vintage shops, but these were only $12 at Costco. I like to bring in the glass jars. Zero Waste Home talks about bringing in glass jars versus the bulk bags sometimes, because that way you make sure you get only the food that you're going to actually use, so it eliminates food waste, which is one of the reasons why you shop like this versus purchasing bulk from Costco. This is what it looks like. Sometimes Whole Foods will, if I don't stop them beforehand, they'll put a piece of tape on it that includes the tear weight. So usually what I just do is include the tear weight on a Sharpie, which I'll write down directly onto the jar. When you put the jar in the dishwasher, it removes the Sharpie, so you don't have to worry about, is this gonna look good? Is it gonna mess up what my jar looks like? Do also include the bulk number directly again on the jar with the Sharpie, and I just carry a black bag with my Sharpie and my washable crayon that I'll talk about in another video with the bulk and produce bags. So bin number on the top along with the tear weight usually, and that's something I bring all of my jars in a shopping bag, and at the very beginning I have them weight them. You just hand the jar over, and you can go into the line with 10 items or less and have them do that really quickly, write it down, and then go over to the bulk area and fill it up with your food. It's not as bad as it seems like. I mean, you carry like 4 or 5 of these, and it's not super heavy, and you just keep them in the bag. And I'll have in my Trello, which I'll do a video of too, of how to plan to go zero waste. In my Trello card, I'll just include the items that I'm buying that I need to put in a jar versus in a bulk bag. We have a number of these jars, and there's two different kinds if you go to the Container Store or somewhere like this. I bought them new because I like to just start off fresh, and I like to have a high quality piece that's not going to be something that's going to break or that we're going to have to recycle right away. So I got them from the Container Store. There's either the French version, this is the Italian glass version, and I didn't really see a difference other than that these were $2 more affordable. This is my favorite jar tip, is that you put the honey from the bulk bins honey into this container versus a liquid container like we do for the maple syrup. We keep this one in like a whiskey jar and this one in a jar like this because you can just put your honey spoon in and grab it right then and there, versus if we're putting it in a jar, we won't use all of it because it'll crystallize at the bottom and you won't be able to get it. This way you can get the entire thing of honey and not waste any money and not waste any food. Finally, you're going to want to get a lot of those smaller, like I showed for the quinoa jars. You're going to want to get a lot of those versus this big jar. You're not going to need very many of these. I only have, I think, 2 of them. And one I use for frozen fruit, and the other one I use for my almond flour or almond meal that I make from almond milk. I'll dehydrate this, and I usually have a ton of this, and so I usually use this for that purpose. But otherwise, I don't ever bring these into the grocery store to fill with food. I usually only use that tall, skinny one. That's just a quick look at all of the different jars that we use, just a short example and some of the pros and cons of each one. Hopefully you guys, if you have questions, comment below. Thank you so much for watching these. Subscribe to find out more about how the Donoghs are going zero waste. It's a challenge. It's not super easy, and we're definitely not zero waste right now, but every day we try and make sure that we eliminate any unnecessary single packages, plastic packages, anything that we can prepare for ahead of time. We make it a priority. So again, subscribe for more videos through the month of July.